Hey, St. Luke's friends. Hope you all are having a good day on this kind of rainy and stormy Tuesday. My apologies for us not having a daily check-in yesterday. Normally on Mondays, I sort of kick the week off for us and kind of give you guys a preview of the theme for the week and where we're headed, hopefully. But yesterday got away from me. So I appreciate your grace and your patience. So we're just going to move everything back today. So Tuesday is the new Monday. Let's look at it that way, or something like that. I don't know. But this week, I've had several people over the last little while, last couple of weeks especially, ask for resources and wondering about what I have been listening to. And most of the time that comes from wondering what podcasts we're listening to, what books we're reading, what resources we are availing ourselves of. And part of the 21-day challenge, of course, is to offer you some of those resources, some of those things that we're listening to. And also there are others that aren't directly linked to the 21-day challenge that I hope and pray that you are taking advantage of, at least going through and looking at some of those resources, even if you don't commit to a 21 full day challenge, but that you have an opportunity just to peruse some of those important resources for yourself. So I'm going to link to you, though, some of the things that I have been listening to. And interestingly enough, some of them are things that I listened to before pandemic happened. But one that I've mentioned before, I think, is Brene Brown's podcast, Unlocking Us. And if you are familiar with Brene Brown, she is a therapist, a psychologist, and I'm sorry, I'm missing exactly her technical credentials, but she's amazing. And I love her for a lot of reasons. But one of them is that she helps us to look inside ourselves and find those places where we're vulnerable, that we need to lean into, those places where we can grow and not be ashamed at all to say, you know what, I need to grow in that way. So I found her to be such a good asset in the process of learning new things and seeing those places in my life that need some tending. So I will link her podcast to the down in the comments here. And also, I'll disclaim this, which some of you know who have talked to me about this. She sometimes uses a little bit of salty language, so maybe not the best thing to listen to with your children. So she's amazing, and she has had some fabulous interviews lately that I commend to you. So that's one of the things I'm listening to. But of course, the thing that we really strive to listen to is the Spirit, right? We want to hear the Spirit speaking. We want to hear God's voice. We want to know what God is calling us to do and who God is calling us to be. And so part of listening to others, such as Brene Brown, for me, is also listening to the Spirit, to God speaking through those different voices in the world. And I find that to be an incredible discipline. As I've told you that I love to run and listen to podcasts. It's a good thing for me to do, and a good way to combine sort of my personal resources, the physical and the mental and spiritual. And so listening in for what God might be saying through the voices of others is so important for us, isn't it? I mean, as St. Lukeans, we know that Sometimes it takes the voice of someone else for us to be able to hear God and to know what God is calling us to do and be. It's a very Presbyterian thing that we say, that, you know, all the saints, all the ministers in our lives speak to us, and we hear God's voice through them. So I commend that to you as you think about what it is that you listen to, and as you listen to other members of our staff talk this week about the things they're listening to. How do we hear God's voice through the voice of others? An incredibly prophetic, biblical, Presbyterian thing for us to consider, which is kind of exciting for a, you know, pastor nerd such as myself. But I want to share with you one of my favorite hymns, and you hear me say this, you may not realize it, you may start to notice it, but you hear me often say in prayers and in especially in the prayers after the offering, when I use the phrase, "Use us, Lord, use even us." And it comes from a hymn, so I've got my St. Luke's hymnal here, and no, I am not going to sing it. Sorry, Claire. Not that I don't sing it out loud when we do sing it together, but y'all don't need to hear God's voice through me singing, trust me. So I invite you to listen to God's voice as I speak these words. Lord, speak to me that I may speak in living echoes of your tone. As you have sought, so let me seek your erring children lost and lone. Oh, fill me with your fullness, Lord, until my very heart overflow in kindling thought and glowing word, your love to tell, your praise to show. Oh, use me, Lord, use even me, just as you will, and when and where, until your blessed face I see, your rest, your joy, your glory share. My friends, I hope all of us, even us, can listen for God's voice in our lives through the voices of so many others around us. Some of those voices have been long silenced and are invited now to speak to us and with us, and then perhaps through us. So may God bless you this week. We are so grateful for you all. We love you very much, and we can't wait to see you again soon. Bye.